Good morning. Good morning, Church Without Walls. Good morning, Activate Her. Welcome to Activate Her with me, Sally Goodwin. Welcome to this week's episode of Start Your Week with Sally. Sincere apologies for the late start this morning, but normally my husband gets up and makes me coffee and gets everything ready for me while I'm preparing. And Shamie hasn't been very well. He has had a bit of a cold, and just not been feeling very well. And so he this morning just slept. And so I quickly got up and did it all, and then got my coffee. And because I haven't had a single drop yet this morning. And so I needed to quickly make my coffee before I came and joined you all. So I'm a little bit late, but welcome everybody to Activate Her with me, Sally Goodwin, and to start your week with Sally. Good morning, famous Chantal. Welcome, my darling. Good to see you. And to welcome to the Church Without Walls. Good morning, special Simone. Beautiful girl. Welcome, my darling. To the Church Without Walls. Welcome. Oh, good morning, Auntie Evie. For some reason, Facebook is hiding your comments. Good morning, Auntie Evie. Welcome, my darling. So lovely to have you on the live in the morning. I know you don't always have an opportunity to watch the live, but lovely to have you on the live. Welcome, Perfect Pam. Hello, Conrad. Welcome, my friend. So good to see you. So good to see you this morning. Estrelita, my darling, welcome. Good morning, Joyful Jen. Good to see you, lovely Lindy. Welcome, beautiful. So good to have you here. And my beautiful Mama Tessa, welcome. It's so good to see you. So yes, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Activate Her with me, Sally Goodwin, and to start your week with Sally, and to this wonderful family, community, Church Without Walls. Good morning, gorgeous Elsa B. Welcome, my darling. You're on holiday this week, Auntie Evie. That's why you're here. Well, I feel very privileged that when you could be sleeping late, you came. Welcome. Oh my goodness, Milani, it's your birthday, my darling, today. A very significant birthday. Hang on a second. I'm going to see if I can see more. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Nurturing Nolene. Can we stop for a moment and just recognize the fact that our gorgeous Milani, who is part of our prophetic school, part of our Church Without Walls, a very big part of this community, she turns 42 today, which is the 24th of June, 2024. Now that has got to be significant. That has got to be significant. I mean, honestly. Good morning, Madam Hashtag. Welcome, my lovely Church Without Walls. And yes, you do. I hope you people. I hope you all noticed that Claudia, God lays. Morning, delightful Diane. God lays nations on her heart, and then she calls them in when she comments on the live. But so everybody, particularly prophetic school people, good morning, terrific Tamsin. Particularly prophetic school people, will you please all be putting your prophetic words and your wishes for our beautiful Milani, whose very significant birthday, 42, on the 24th of the 6th, 2024. Very significant. Good morning, Radiant Renee. Welcome, my darling. So, my gorgeous friend Milani, 42. 42 is calculated by adding 2, which is agreement, to 40, which is mature leadership. So good morning. Special Sonia, welcome, my love. Amazing Anisha, welcome. So 2 is agreement, so we are all in agreement here this morning whilst we wish you for your birthday. And then it is added to 40, which is mature leadership, which implies a readiness to lead or to reign. And so it points to the perfection of the natural man achieved as a spiritual man or follower of Jesus Christ. So it is the number of man multiplied by the number of perfection, and which brings you to the spiritual man. And then it is the promise. So the spiritual significance is the spiritual man, that it is the number of man multiplied by the number of perfection. And as Jesus was the 41st generation in his natural lineage, we as his children are the 42nd generation, which is the perfection of man in Christ Jesus. This is your promise, my beautiful Milani. Joyful Jackie, welcome. Lovely Radiant Renelle, so lovely to see you. The promise is that you are ready to reign. You are ready to reign as a son, daughter, prince, queen in the body of Christ. So you, my gorgeous friend, Tishka, my lovely, welcome. You, my gorgeous friend Milani, and just for those of you who've only just joined, Milani's birthday is today, and she is turning 42 on the 24th of June, 2024. So you, my beautiful Milani, you are ready. You are ready to reign as a daughter in the body of Christ, as a queen in the body of Christ. You are being upgraded. You are being accelerated. The word I hear is escalated, which seems to me escalated in my Monday morning brain. Escalated, you are going up and forward at the same time, and God is positioning you in a space where you are now ready to reign, not as a princess, because you're not a little girl anymore that longs to be a princess, saved by a white knight. Good morning, Ros Bauer. Welcome, my radiant friend. Special Sam, beautiful, welcome. But you are ready to reign as a queen in your own authority, as your own person, in your own identity in Jesus. And that could be why you've been feeling a little bit challenged, or a little bit like you don't want to step up or step forward, or you've been feeling like your identity is being challenged by the enemy. He keeps reminding you of who or not reminding you, but he keeps telling you who you're not, rather than you listening to the voice of the Lord, hearing him say who you are. And so that could be because you were about to cross this very significant, you're about to reach this very significant birthday and cross this very significant threshold into reigning as a queen in the body of Christ, in the kingdom of Jesus, in your full authority and your full identity. So you are stepping into authority and identity, my friend. You are stepping into authority and identity, and do not allow the enemy to lie to you and tell you that it isn't so, because it is very much so. And God is escalating you. He is escalating you. He is taking you higher in him, and he is leapfrogging is the word I hear. He is leapfrogging you ahead because of your radical obedience, because of your faith in him, because of who you are, because of your sacrifices as his daughter, because you are prepared to sacrifice as his daughter. He is escalating and accelerating and leapfrogging you forward in everything that he has for you, in your destiny and your purpose. So that is for you, my beautiful friend, who I love so dearly. And yes, we are excited to see what God does in you and through you in the year ahead. And then let's just have a quick look, because last time, good morning, everybody that I've missed. Somebody's husband's 58th birthday. Sorry, I missed that. I'm prophesying over our gorgeous Milani friend. And let me just look at 43 as well. Because your 42nd year. Good morning, Amy, my lovely UK friend. So good to see you. Oh, how could I not? So, We have our UK visas that they have been approved. We have gone to collect our passports. We have received our UK visas. We are definitely on our way to the UK in September. So my gorgeous Amy friend, all I need to do is just send you my exact dates when I'm coming to stay with you. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So yes, you might be having me for a night or so longer than you anticipated. So prepare yourself. But I can't wait to see you. Cannot wait to meet you. Cannot wait to just give you the biggest hug. So gorgeous Milani, your 42nd year is coming to an end and you're stepping into your 43rd year, which can show that even though you don't feel that you are at the right place right now, you are there for a divine purpose and to build character. So even though you might not feel, my lovely Milani, that you're exactly in the right place right now, you might feel that you sort of a little bit all over the place. You are where you are. You are exactly where God needs you to be right now for his divine purpose to build your character, to move you forward. So there we go. So it's our lovely Milani's birthday today, and she's turning 42, and so we're just praying and prophesying over her. Good morning, significant Sunette. Oh, thank you, Amy. Lovely Louise from New Zealand. Yes, I was so excited. You know, they don't tell you whether you've got the visa or not. They just say, come collect your documentation. They don't tell you whether it's approved. It's just like, come collect your documentation, like a standard email. So you literally go through there, stand in the queue, collect it, then you have to sit down, open the envelope, take out your passport and look to see whether you've actually got the visa. So yeah, so we have our UK visas, our flights are booked. We have about in Chester, where we're going to also be staying. So we're going to be staying with gorgeous Amy in Essex, and then in Chester, where we're going to be staying with friends of ours. I have a friend who married an English guy, and she lives in Chester now, and we're going to be staying in Chester as well. And this is after Scotland. Good morning, beautiful Brenda. Oh, heroic Hilda, did I miss you, my gorgeous? How is that possible? And we are going to be ministering. So we're going to be ministering in Chester. At I think about 4 different spaces. And my gorgeous Amy friend, if there's any ministry you want us to do while we're staying with you, anybody who you would like us to meet or pray over or speak to or whatever, please, we are there to serve. So please feel free to organize if you would like to. Otherwise, you can just have us all to yourselves. That's also fine. Good morning, gorgeous Jo Allison. Yes, our beautiful tribe. Oh, our beautiful tribe. I'm so excited. Just so excited at the moment for everything God is doing. I'm almost finished writing the entries for the journaling diary that will be available in August. Almost finished writing those, and I'm just so excited with everything God is doing and with this Church Without Walls. And you know, God does things without you even realizing it. Jubilant Jolene, welcome, my darling. Special Sylvia, good morning, lovely. Because you know, I shared previously when I was having doubts about whether I'd heard God correctly about formalizing the Church Without Walls. And when I say formalizing, I don't mean, you know, I'm going to be buying a building and doing all of that sort of thing, but formalizing it in terms of creating a legal entity so that when people say they belong to the Church Without Walls, there is a legal entity that they belong to. And I was doubting whether I'd heard God correctly on that, and so I hadn't moved any further with it. And then one of our beautiful members of this community messaged me to say that her and her husband had felt that they were like joining the Church Without Walls properly, like they were actually leaving where they were at. And I'm not encouraging people to leave their church. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm saying God used this incredible person, good morning, magnificent Magda, to confirm for me that I'm doing what he wants me to do. And so she said to me that they are going to be leaving, and they are going to be joining Church Without Walls and tithing to church, or giving to Church Without Walls. And many of you give to me to activate her, indirectly to the Church Without Walls. But the way she put it, it was like this was now a specific thing that God had led her to do, and she was going to be giving to the Church Without Walls. And that was confirmation for me that God was saying, no, Sally, you are doing the right thing. You are building this community. You are building this church, and it's going to build organically through the Lord. And then, of course, our gorgeous Taryn, we launched our gorgeous Taryn off. She is in New York now. Her feet have hit the ground in New York, and she's going to be spending, I think, 6 months, or I can't think, something like that, in New York, and then going off on the ships. And when we were releasing her from the prophetic school, and we were sending her and praying over her and prophesying over her, God said, this is the first launch from the Church Without Walls, from the prophetic school. This is, already we are this very organic kind of online family community, which is just incredibly amazing. And already we have somebody that we have sent. We've already sent somebody out to the nations. And what I'm wanting you to see, please understand that I'm not suggesting that you all, leave whatever church you're at. And, please, that's not what I'm saying. I want you to understand that. Oh, yes, there we go. That's a bit better, a little bit more light. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that God is on this community, and that He is moving, and without me even realizing it, without me even, God is doing what He does without me actually, and I'm just showing up for it. Basically, Flynn and I, we're just showing up for it. We just like, yes, Lord, whatever you say, we're showing up for it. And I just find that so amazing, and it's just so exciting. It's so exciting that he's doing that. And that's always I've had a few words over my life, over the years, that I would plant a church one day. And for anybody who's been, in any form of church leadership, then I just was said to the Lord, listen, if you want me to plant a church, then you're going to have to speak so loudly, because that's not on my heart at all. Because I was thinking of church planting the way church planting has been done historically. And I said to the Lord, you would have to do it. And I said to him, it needs to grow organically. I don't want it to be to look like a normal church that we know today. I want it to be a new thing that you are doing. And God has literally just gone, yes, I'm doing the thing. So He has just done all of this, and it just blows me away. It honestly does. It just, I don't know. I'm just speechless with the goodness of God, and the way He moves, and the way He works, and it's just amazing. So yes. So we are going to be going to the UK and just spending the first sort of week and a half to almost 2 weeks in Scotland with GPA. And thank you, Stu. Stu continues to reaffirm that I will one day have doctor before my name. And when the days that I doubt that, Stu is there to remind me. Honestly, the days when my studying is just like, and I'm like, Lord, I don't know about this. Stu's name pops up, and he says that, and then I'm like, okay, Jesus, you're still speaking about this. God is so intentional. So we have been speaking about Habakkuk, and we have been speaking about writing the vision and making it plain and all of that kind of thing, and for the appointed time and all of that. And and as I've been writing the the entries, because so this journaling diary, very quickly, the journaling diary is exactly what its name sounds like, a journaling diary. So it's a proper diary. It's a proper diary. So you can write your appointments, you can do all the things, and we'll have the school holidays and all the things that diaries have. It's a proper diary. It will also have the Hebrew calendar in it. So it's a proper diary based on our Gregorian calendar, but it will also have the Hebrew calendar in it, and the Hebrew, when the Hebrew feasts are and things like that. And then for every month, at the beginning of every month, there's just a short little sort of teaching with on a little bit about that, the Hebrew month, and then there's an Hebrew word, I think, a Hebrew word that God has given me for the beginning of every month, and then for every week there's an activation around that Hebrew word and around that little teaching. There will be an activation around that for every week. So for 4 weeks or whatever it is, you will do activations based on the teaching, based on the Hebrew word that is in that teaching. So it's absolutely incredible. I'm just loving it to bits, and really trusting that there will be, that it will just encourage more people to be interested in or see the importance of the Jewish roots of the church. Oh, sorry, my nose is. You see, this is what happens when my hubby isn't feeling well, because normally, can I tell you what he does? He puts a glass of water down and my coffee and a tissue. And now he's not feeling well, and I had to do this on my own. And all I have is my coffee. No tissue, no water, no nothing. Anywho, this is why I love him and appreciate him beyond measure. So it's so exciting to write this diary with the Holy Spirit, honestly. And so please pray for me, because the diary and volume 3 of the Women of Significance has to be finished by the 1st of July. And I also have an assignment for my theology degree, also due on the 1st of July. So please, will you pray for me this week for capacity, for no illness, that my body will cooperate with the things that I need to do. But so it just made me chuckle, because we've been talking about, we've been reading in Habakkuk, and we've been talking about writing the vision and doing all of those things. And then, as I'm writing this diary, God is giving me words around, writing the vision and expanding it and things like that. And then it's like the testimony that I'm literally living, like the expansion of a vision where God is saying to me, you need to dream bigger, Sally, because it's bigger than this. You need to dream bigger. It's bigger than this. And I'm just kind of, wow, Lord, there is just this, as I'm preaching and as I'm writing and as I'm living I'm living my yes, to the Lord, which just, before anybody thinks it's the easiest thing in the world, we all know that it's not. But as I'm doing this, God is showing me how He Himself is expanding the vision. And I'm just blown away by the way He works and the way He moves. Sorry, I'm not distracted. I'm just looking for something in this Bible, in my one specific translation. I'm looking for something. And just things, there are things that we don't always realize. Like I always say to all of you and to the people that I speak over, that I don't always say I'm prophesying now. But when you walk in the office of the prophet, you pretty much, I've said to somebody once, I'm a conversational prophet. Like as I'm conversing with you, I'm prophesying. I'm because I walk in the office of the prophet, and that's in my very DNA. What I speak, I'm constantly prophesying, which is why I have to be very careful about the words that come out my mouth. And sometimes my husband has to say to me, oh, Sally, no, don't say that, because that's not, So I have to be very conscious of the words that come out my mouth. And just recently I was reminded of that, not of saying the wrong thing, and I've told many of you this before, but in 2018, I prophesied that there was I prophesied that there was shaking coming to the church, and it was going to start with church leadership. And you've all heard me say this before, and I said that God had told me that the things that had not been repented for in the secret place were going to be exposed in the public space. Thank you, my darling. Are you listening to me? Shame. My husband is listening to me in the bedroom, so he came through now and he brought me water and he brought me a tissue. He's such a sweetheart, honestly. So, things that have not been repented for in the secret place are going to be exposed in the public space. And I prophesied that in about 2018 and spoke about the shaking that is coming to the church, and that it is going to start with church leadership. And the sermon that I happened to preach that day, and that didn't go down very well, but it has since 2018 we have watched, and often we prophesy something like that and we kind of expect the very next day for every church to start, but God, God is a God of grace, and grace is free, but grace is not cheap. And we forget that. We just think, oh, grace is free. God's mercies are new every morning, which is true. That is scriptural. God's grace is free. That is true as well. But it is not cheap. And you only have to read the story of Israel and the story of the Gentile nations, the story of nations where God has given them grace and grace and grace and grace. And eventually, it's not that his grace runs out. His grace never runs out, but their time runs out because they have taken his grace as free and cheap. And it is free, but it is not cheap. And so since 2018 until today, we have seen the fall of big names in big churches. And Stu, I'm just looking at Stu saying Flint started men's ministry. And just recently there was another big name pastor in the States, big mega church in the States, who has recently now been found out for something that he did years ago. Apparently, I don't want to spread any rumors that I have no verification for, and that whole church has been shaken, and it's because if God said very clearly. Now what I'm trying to get to here is this: often as a prophet, if you prophesy something and that prophecy doesn't come to pass in sort of like 5 seconds flat, people love to say a false prophet, or you missed it, or you didn't hear the Lord, or whatever the case may be. You read these Old Testament prophets, Habakkuk, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and many of the things, particularly Isaiah, many of those things still haven't come to pass, because some of Isaiah's prophecy was end time prophecy, and it still hasn't come to pass in its fullness yet. So you prophesy something, and and I'm also not the sort of person, I have no issue with people who do this. Please don't hear what I'm not saying. But I'm not the sort of person who puts, like, on this date I prophesied this, and now this is all where it's come. I don't have time to do that. I know that what I bring is the word of the Lord. I know this because my whole life is laid down to Him, and it is a privilege to be His mouthpiece, and I am His mouthpiece in fear and trembling, because I know that one day I will account for every word that has come out of my mouth. So I am not going to say something like, if it isn't repented for in the secret place, it's going to be exposed in the public space. I'm not just going to say that because I think that sounds like a catchy saying. I say that in fear and trembling because I then watch what God does. And so, So you have these Old Testament prophets who prophesied all of these things that took, some of those prophecies took years to be fulfilled, hundreds of years to be fulfilled. God doesn't, he doesn't come in one day just dismantle every single church all around the world and every single bit of church leadership, because he has grace. And we have periods of grace that God in his sovereignty decides upon, exactly the way he did for Israel. There is a period of grace, and you, in the Old Testament, you read about how he said, for example, with one or two of the Gentile nations, he's waiting for their the fullness of their evil to be reached. And so he actually there was always an opportunity for them to repent and turn to him, and he'd given them a chance, and this was their chance. And when the fullness of their evil was reached, then it was the grace period had expired. Sorry, but I wasn't very well either over the weekend. Also just sore throat, croaky, and this morning my throat and my voice seem to be okay, but every now and again I can feel it's like coming up here, so I just want to keep drinking water and keep drinking coffee to just wash it down. So it is the same here. So since 2018, and I mean, look, I'm not saying that it only started in 2018. I'm saying that was a word that God gave me, and I brought that word, and it was a warning word. But this is what I'm getting to in a very long-winded fashion, is this, that often so in 2018, I preached a sermon. In a church that was heard by the people in the church. I can't even remember if we were, because 2020 was really, I can't even remember if it was recorded or if it went online or whatever the case may be. I can't even remember that. But the people, so here I am, little Sally down in Cape Town at the bottom end of Africa, and I preached the sermon to these couple of hundred people, and that was that. But the prophetic word went into the atmosphere because it was God's prophetic word. So often things happen in the world and we say, oh, nobody prophesied this. Now, I'm not the only prophet that has prophesied that the church will be shaken. I'm not the only prophet that has said that God is shaking the church since 2018 or whatever. Other prophets have said the same thing, that there is a shaking coming and all of that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is that things happen in the world and we just assume that no prophet has been warned about it because the prophets that we follow with the big international ministries haven't said anything. But God says clearly in Amos 3 verse 7, I will do nothing without revealing it. I will do nothing without revealing my secrets to my servants, the prophets. He says, I will do nothing without revealing my secrets to my servants, the prophets. So we can stand assured that no matter what happens in the world, there is a prophet somewhere that God showed it to. And possibly, sometimes God shows it to the more, the more hidden prophets, because he doesn't want it necessarily broadcast, right? He needs it to go out into the spirit because we co-labor with him and we partner with him and we speak those words with him and for him. So he needs it to go out into the spirit. But it is not, but he's not giving it to some enormous, because he just needs the words to be released into the spirit, but he is actually going to move sovereignly in this regard. And so it's not a case of, some big warning that's going to go right around the world and people are going to, pray and all that sort of thing. It's a case of, this is what I'm doing. This is what is going to happen. Like, I have decided that this is what is going to happen, and I'm giving it to you to put the word out. So you release, as a prophet, you release the words into the spirit, and they go forth. The angels take them out there, and then they go forth into the spirit, and other prophets pick up, on those things in the spirit. And then the things are said in other places, and that is how God's word makes it come to pass. My gorgeous Petru, so my beautiful friend Petru, can we take a moment to admire this beautiful blouse that I'm wearing that my gorgeous friend Petru gave me? Thank you, my darling. I'm loving it. So So this is how it works. So what I'm saying is, for you, even if you don't walk in the office of a prophet, we are all called to prophesy, we are all called to be prophetic. When you write your vision, when you write those things down, when you speak it out to people, when you take the risk and you speak your vision out to people, when you commit yourself to writing your vision down, you commit yourself to writing your vision down, and then you speak your vision out to people you trust, not just to all and sundry, but to people you trust and people who have your best interests at heart. You are releasing those words into the spirit. You're releasing those words into the spiritual realm. And so part of Habakkuk, where the Lord says, write your vision and make it plain so that those who can read it can run with it. He's not just talking about in the natural, because then I think sometimes people get confused. So what does he say here? He says, where am I? Habakkuk 2, verse 2. Write the vision. This is the New King James Version. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets. Now, obviously, write the vision and make it plain on tablets is because that's what they used in those days. Okay, so the Lord doesn't expect you to find a tablet and make your vision plain on that he may run who reads it. So you see here the slightly different language in the New King James Version. Write the vision and make it plain on tablets, that he may run who reads it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And it sounds almost like, like God is contradicting himself, but he's not. What he's saying is, so he's speaking literally, yes, to Habakkuk, write the vision on tablets, make it plain. But then he says that he may run who reads it. In other words, the person who reads it is going to run. They're going to be so inspired and encouraged by the vision that is written plainly on the tablets that they are going to run. But that has a spiritual perspective as well. It has a spiritual perspective. In other words, when you write the vision and make it plain, when you speak your vision out, remembering how powerful our words are, remembering that we are in the decade of pay, the 5784, the 880 is pay, it is mouth. The pictograph for the Hebrew letter pay is mouth. So this decade of the 80s in the Hebrew calendar is all about the words that are spoken with our mouths, that are put out there. So when we write the vision, when you write your vision down, you are committing yourself to it. Not that it's carved in stone and God can't say to you, okay, but we're going to change this slightly or do this slightly, not that. But when you put it on paper, and somebody said to me, I think it was Renelle, who said that it's proven that when you use a pen to write something down, it shifts something. And I can't remember exactly what she said. She said it on the last broadcast, I think. But and I know I've heard people say that we're so quick to put things on our computer, but there's power in taking a pen and paper and writing it down. So you've written it down, which basically you committing yourself to that vision working out according to God. And then now you speak it out to people you trust. People, ladies and gentlemen, we are called to love each other the way we love ourselves. Love and trust are two different things. You can love everybody in the body of Christ with the love of the Lord. That doesn't mean that you have to trust everybody. Because unfortunately, no matter what circles we move in, no matter where we go, no matter what churches we are part of, no matter what ministries we are part of, there are always going to be people who are just human and haven't died to themselves sufficiently and are still walking in their flesh, who will take what you have envisioned or take what you have said and somehow. So just you share your vision, you speak about your vision to your tribe. You speak about your vision to your tribe, to those people who support you, to those people who know you and love you and have your back. Those are the people you speak about your vision to. But when you speak that vision out, it goes out into the spirit realm. It goes out into the spiritual. And there are heavenly beings, there are angels, because your vision that God has given you is part of your purpose whilst you are on this earth. So God has given you this vision because that is part of your purpose for your life. So there are angels that have been assigned to carry out, to help you carry out your purpose and your destiny on the earth. And they literally wait for you to step into that purpose, to step into that destiny so that they can do the job that they have been given to do. So when you write your vision out and God says that he may run who reads it, yes, he meant it in the natural, but also in the spirit. That when you release it into the spirit, there are heavenly beings and angels who take those words that you've spoken and they start to go out and make it possible for that vision to become a reality. And when you release it into the spirit, there are people who are in the spirit, other prophetic people, prophets, who in the spirit hear and they pick up and they're like, oh, this person in this place is doing this. I need to intercede for them. Or this person in this place is doing this. I feel God is asking me to give to them, or God has laid this person in this town on my heart. And it's so when you release it like that into the spirit, we're not just talking here about the natural, because we have the Holy Spirit that has been released on the earth. We are spirit beings before we are human beings. We are connected in the spirit. We are connected with the spirit. We are entangled with him. We are one in this beautiful dance of life. And so when we speak those words out in the spirit, people can grab onto them and run with them as well. So and this is what God says, and I know we've been over this, but I really felt today that we needed to just look at it in the New King James Version and just go over it one more time to just kind of really get it deep inside. Because as I was writing the diary and, the one or two sections at the beginning, which focused around sort of vision, getting a vision for the year, I felt God say, my people perish for lack of vision. So some translations say my people perish for lack of knowledge, which is definitely true. And some translations say my people perish for lack of vision, or knowledge can be translated as vision. That word that is translated as knowledge can be translated as vision, because you need a vision. Otherwise you just kind of fumbling around on earth, waiting to step into eternity with Jesus, and that isn't what God intended. So when God says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, it is for an appointed time. In other words, the vision he saw, the vision that he is giving you, he saw it before he even laid the foundations of the earth. When he was, when you were in your mother's womb, God already saw this vision, and he has an appointed time for that vision. Now, remembering that God is outside of time. So, we all have walked through, our teenage years and maybe our young adult years and not been the biggest and best followers of Jesus. And we've all had dark times and times that we walked away and, backsliding times and all of that sort of thing. So there's nothing, you can't say, oh, well, my appointed time for my vision is over because I spent so many years walking away from the Lord. If I had said that, I wouldn't be doing what I was doing now. So, but God has an appointed time. It is God's appointed time, but he is outside of time. So basically his appointed time can be any time. It can be any time. Because he doesn't operate according to the clocks and time that we operate according to. He is outside of time. He can be in and out and in your past and in your present and in your future and all sorts of things. Very difficult for us to comprehend from a logical, rational perspective with our Greek educated mindsets. But he is outside of time. So when he says the vision is yet for an appointed time, he has an appointed time. But his appointed time will be exactly when it is, if that makes sense to you. You haven't missed it. You haven't missed it. So many people say to me, Sally, I think I've missed God's timing. No, you haven't missed it. You might have taken a detour. You might have gone through the wrong door and taken the long way around, which I think most of us take the long way around. You might have gone down the cul-de-sac and had to turn around and come back up again. God is prepared for all of that. He's prepared for all of that. And he's not sitting there saying, oh dear, oh shame, okay, well now it's gone. No, he's saying this vision is for my appointed time. And oh wow, now is my appointed time. And you ready? Isn't that amazing? Your time and my appointed time have matched up. That is what, so the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end, it will speak and it will not lie. So the vision is for an appointed time, God's appointed time. So it's always good to ask for God's timing on these things. And to, I always suggest that people don't err. I always say err on the side of caution regarding timing. But sometimes people then just get stuck and they never move forward. Don't do that. But make sure that you are inquiring of the Lord for his timing for something. So, but because he says, but at the end, it will speak and it will not lie. It will not lie, because God is not a man that he can lie. So if he has given you the vision, he has given an appointed time. At the end, that vision will speak. It will not lie. It will come to pass. And then he says, though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. In other words, don't give up. Don't, in our world of instant gratification and, one button and this happens and, everything's online and you just go in and order things and they get delivered to your door and you don't even have to shop anymore. In our world of that, we tend to be very impatient. And if something takes longer than a day or two, then we just like, oh no, this is taking too long. God says, though it tarries, wait for it. Now, do we cross our legs and hold our hands out and just sit and wait? No, waiting on the Lord is an active thing. Sorry. As we wait on the Lord, it is an active waiting. So we do what we can do while we wait. And that water, coffee in my throat. As we wait on the Lord, we do whatever we can do while we wait. So we move forward, even if we're moving forward at a millimeter at a time, we move forward while we wait. We don't just sit and expect God to just pour it into our laps and everything to just it doesn't work like that. We co-labor with the Lord, remember? So though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Now that sounds like a contradiction. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. But it's not a contradiction, because again, we have to remember that God is outside of time. So we might feel that the vision is tarrying. We might feel that it's taking forever to happen. We might feel, oh my goodness, Lord, I don't feel like waiting for this anymore. This is ridiculous. How long is this going to go on for? Whatever. We might feel that. So it feels for us like the vision is tarrying, but not for God, because the vision for God is happening in his appointed time. So it's not tarrying for him. Remember, it tells us in the scripture that, a day is like 1,000 years for God. No, the other way around. 1,000 years is like a day. Yes, 1,000 years is like a day for the Lord. So, 1,000 years, 500 years, that was just God's morning. The other 500 is just his afternoon. So, so what he's saying is, if it feels like it's tarrying, we need to wait for it. But it's not actually tarrying. It's happening in his appointed time. He has an appointed time. And can I tell you something? That God, and this is also not a very popular thing to say, but God is more interested in you and building your character and teaching you how to be more like Jesus than he is about a specific timing around a specific vision. What God is waiting for, when it says there, though it tarries, wait for it, often what God is waiting for is for us to reach the point where we can steward the vision. He's waiting for us to reach the point where we can steward the vision. He's waiting for our character to be refined enough for us to be able to steward the vision. And so often when we've had the vision, when we've committed to writing the vision, when we've spoken the vision out to those we trust, then it feels like we walk through a little bit of a fire. And often we think, oh my goodness, it's, the enemy and it's this and it's that. But actually, it is God's refining fire. He's saying, daughter, son, are you ready to steward this vision? I'm refining you to make you like silver, to make you like gold. Are you ready to steward this vision? So often he's waiting for us rather than we feel like we're waiting for him, but he's waiting for us. And that's why he says, wait for it. And that's why I say to you, don't just sit and wait, like this. Be like, Lord, are there parts of my character that need to be built? Are there things in my heart that need to be dealt with? Do I have unforgiveness that needs to be dealt with? Do I have, search my heart, Lord. Do I have clean hands and a pure heart? My favorite psalm. Who will ascend the mountain of the Lord but those with pure hands, clean hands and a pure heart? So, while you wait for your vision to come to pass in its appointed time, make sure that you are allowing God to form your character, to get rid of the things that are going to hold you back. Often, when you have a vision that you're going to step into, God will do a little bit of a pruning of your circle. Because there are people in your circle who can't go with you where you're going. Because they will hold you back. Because they say they believe in you, but they don't actually. They say they support you, but they don't actually. And so God often has to prune us of a few of the people around us so that we can go ahead into the vision that he has for us without trying to drag other people with us, without the people who are trying to ride on our coattails. And that's not an arrogant thing. That's just a reality, and I'm sure we all understand it's happened to all of us at some point. So there's often, just before you're going to step into this vision, there is a pruning, there is a refining, and we think, oh my goodness, the resistance to this vision is so enormous and the enemy is coming against me. And no, it's not the enemy, it's God. And he's making sure that you are ready for what he has called you to, that your character is formed sufficiently, that the people who are in your life are people who can go with you into this vision and who will support you and who will have your back. That you will not be fighting your own people whilst you fight the spiritual attack that will come at some point, as we all know. So often that's why, when God says, though it tarries, wait for it, okay, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, because the tarrying actually isn't on his side. The tarrying is more on our side because we have things we need to learn. Sometimes people say things to me like, oh my word, I can't believe I'm going around this mountain again. And I say to them, why are you going around the mountain again? Because there must be a reason. There's something that you haven't learned in your first or second or third or 55th trip around that mountain. There's something you haven't quite learned or quite grasped, or you haven't quite forgiven, or there's a redemption that God is trying to do in that trip around the mountain. He's trying to redeem something that was lost, something that was stolen, something that was broken as you go around the mountain. But we're so fixated on the fact that we're going back around the same mountain that we just, oh my goodness, this again, oh, I just give up. And God is saying to you, no, there's a reason why you keep going around this mountain. There's a reason why you keep going around this mountain. And if you just sit with me and ask me, I'll show you the reason, we can deal with it. And you will never have to go this way again. You will never have to go this way again. And believe you me, there have been times where Flynn and I have gone into things eyes wide open, hearts wide open, spiritual senses wide open, and then we've gone around and we're like, oh my goodness, this is the same mountain. What did we miss, Lord? What did we miss? Because we're human and we do sometimes miss things, you know. But the thing is that God doesn't say, oh, well, now you've gone around this mountain for the 56th time, that's it. I'm done with you. You're going to just be stuck on this mountain forever. No, no. You're going to find the thing that God is needing you to do, and you're going to do it, and then you're going to go off and continue to climb to the top of the mountain. It's not a difficult thing. It's really just a thing of hearing the Lord and also being able to and just moving in, you know, what he calls you to, even if it seems. So I know it feels maybe like I'm really belaboring this whole vision thing, but I feel as though it's so significant because, you know, this event on the 10th of August, we've called it the sound of a new dawn. And we've spoken about awakening the dawn and all of these kinds of things. But you don't just awaken the dawn or welcome a new dawn with no idea or plan for what you're going to do that day. You know, you have a plan for your day. When you awaken the dawn, when you wake up with the dawn, when you when you release a sound for a new dawn, you have a plan for the day that has dawned. And we need a plan for the new day that is dawning. We need a vision from the Lord for the new day that is dawning. And that's why I keep going on about this, and I will until Holy Spirit tells me it's enough, because I know it is important for us to grasp how significant it is to have a vision for the new dawn. There needs to be a vision for the new dawn. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that, with those thoughts, and I trust that you will have a fabulous Monday, and I will see you again on Wednesday at 7 a.m. for Wisdom Wednesdays. Love you, bless you. Buy your tickets for August. The tickets are selling fast. The tickets are selling fast. Order your volume 2s if you don't have volume 2 yet, and yeah, be excited. It's going to be amazing. Love you. Mwah. See you Wednesday.